Now, sorry to interrupt you, Ninja. Just to let you know, we're dialing Coach Huey right now. Let's pick up. We'll have a hell of a good time here. But I agree, hell of an episode, Ninja. What a win. I'm pumped.
Yo,
Just
yo,
Coach Jamie Huey, is that you, sir?
it is me, man. What's happening, brother?
How are you doing? This is Ramses from the Word on the Street podcast. We are
Of course,
recording
of
right
course
now.
it is.
We are recording right now, just to let you know. And you're also on with our co-hosts for the night, Ninja Larson and Jake from the MMA podcast, by the
What's
way.
going on, man?
What's happening, fellas? I recognize you from Twitter. How you doing?
Very good.
How does it,
Nice.
are we all sounding all right over there, Coach Huey?
Yeah, everything sounds good.
Excellent. Great. Good to know. Yeah, we were going to go live with it, but then I figured it would probably be a technical disaster, and it already was before I even attempted to even go live. So what we'll do here is we'll do this podcast. It's already going, and then we'll put it out there. I'll put it out there on YouTube right away. But first off, Coach, I just have to know, we all saw tonight's episode. Did you get a chance to see it there on the West Coast, or what did you think of tonight's episode and the way it was done, shot, portrayed?
I did. I probably missed the first 10 minutes. I'm training Liz McCarthy for her pro boxing debut March 16th, so I was up at the gym working with her, and by the time I got on the road and got home, I probably missed the first 10 minutes of it. So
Lightning Liz McCarthy. Great to know she's getting back in, I guess not in the cage, in the ring next. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of both. So we're continuing obviously to evolve, and she's so she's working at she's got a pro boxing debut March 16th at the Seven Feathers Casino in Canyonville, Oregon. So we're looking forward to that.
Now you're one of her coaches. Now you and her, you both know by now that she won that fight, right, against Jody Escobar.
I totally agree with you, man, and I appreciate you saying that. We the first round was close in the striking. Liz got the only takedown. So you got to give her the first round. And then there was no question. She absolutely, completely, 100% dominated the third round. So how they gave that fight to Jody, and I don't mean any disrespect to Jody. She went out there and fought as hard as she could, but how they gave the decision to Jody, we're still kind of scratching our heads.
Me too, man. I didn't get that one either. She had better cage control. She avoided damage, the takedowns, and just Escobar was just putting on the flashy show, throwing punches in thin air combinations that didn't land, but apparently that was enough to sway the judges. I was disgusted personally, but that was a damn good fight, and it was good to see you out there repping the Ultimate Fighter gear. Did Invicta put up a fight about that, or even say anything about you guys wearing the Team Sonnen shirts?
Oh no. Janet and Shannon are great. They were there was no problem. They kind of, the joke was if you watch it again, Zach Cummings, who was one of the participants on the Ultimate Fighter, lives in Kansas City. He was out there obviously with us. He was kind of our third corner. So he's not allowed to wear any Ultimate Fighter stuff at the time. They hadn't actually disclosed who was on the show and who was on what team, even if so it was kind of funny because he was out there with us, and he's not allowed to wear any of his stuff because he can't obviously telegraph the fact that he was on the show. So we ended up getting him I think it was like a size medium walkout shirt that Liz had, that was a white T-shirt, but it had pink all over it.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, Zach was a good sport, man. He threw it on there like a gangster, and he represented. God, I'd tell you the sponsor if I could remember who it was, but but it was pretty funny.
Shout out to them. But yeah, tonight's episode, I gotta ask you right away, because I know it's all like, let's not kid anyone. You've seen every fight already that happens on the Ultimate Fighter, but tonight, for the viewing audience, we were blown away by the damn knee from Luke. Two questions. One, how do you pronounce his last name? How does he pronounce his last name? And two, what was it like seeing that vicious knee knockout live?
Barnatt is how you
Barnatt.
pronounce it, Luke Barnatt. As far as seeing it live, Gilbert's a tough guy, and Luke is really a very technical guy. He's really got a lot of tools. To be honest with you, I kind of tweeted this a little while ago, kind of how I felt about it at the time. Obviously, I was excited because, that was Team Darkside's first fight, and it was actually picked by Jones. And at the time, we were excited, obviously, that we had gained control, and we got the first pick, which was Luke, and then we got the first win. So we obviously got control, and we're going into the next fight with control. But to be honest with you tonight, man, I kind of I felt like we had two guys on the same team fighting each other, man. I really did. Gilbert, or everybody calls him Jamal. He was kind of one of these guys that he really kind of expressed that. That I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but he really kind of expressed that because of some of the relationships that we have. Chris Camozzi, for instance, he'll come out and he'll train with us for Chael. Chris is in the same camp as Gilbert, and they work together quite a bit. Gilbert, I think, kind of he wanted to be Team Darkside, that I believe. He made a comment in the first episode that he was hoping John picked him, and I kind of think that some of that was the fact that he didn't want to be picked later in the rotation, but sooner.
Right.
But I always kind of felt like I had this thing with Gilbert that, he really kind of wanted it. And at the end, he felt like he was one of our guys. Him and Luke are both coming up to Walton, our new gym, One MMA. At the end, they're coming up about 2 weeks together. They're going to live together and train together up here to get ready for the tough finale, because obviously the logistics are, they're probably not going to fight each other again in the finale. So it's a pretty safe bet that, they're going to be training together and not end up getting a rematch or anything. They'll fight different opponents. So they're both coming up here to train together. So we're excited about that. So I guess my feeling, to kind of wrap up the question was, at the time, extremely excited. Tonight, obviously happy for Luke, but a little kind of sad for Gilbert at the same time.
No, I gotcha. And I will ask you about the One MMA gym at the tail end of this here, but just to stay on the Ultimate Fighter, you were mentioning the picks that you guys ended up making. I was wondering, we saw the premiere episode last week. What was the Team Sonnen, aka Team Darkside, strategy when you were making your fighter picks in that first episode? Like, they showed us that Luke was the first pick? Why was that? And like which fighters? Let's be honest, which fighters did John Jones end up snatching up that were at the top of your wish list? Like, how were you picking fighters? What was the process?
Basically how it worked was we did a coin toss. The winner of the coin toss got first pick of either the first person they wanted on their team, or they got to pick the first fight going into the show. We took first pick. And we snatched up Luke. And then, so because we chose that, then automatically John got, Team Bones got first pick of, which was going to be the first fight. And then at that point, that's how they basically ended up matching up Luke and Gilbert. And no disrespect to Gilbert, but it was just not a good matchup. I mean, I kind of understand John wanted to go in there and he wanted to shake us a little bit by trying to take our number one guy out. But, I mean, you got the tallest guy in there with the shortest guy in there. And Luke's not one of these tall, goofy, unorthodox, uncoordinated guys. Luke is a technician. I mean, Luke has got ground game. He's got stand-up. And not to say anything about Gilbert, because he's got all the same stuff. Gilbert's a freaking beast, man. That guy's a tank. But the initial fight going into the show, I just didn't think that was the right pick. And then I was a little disappointed that it kind of seemed like there were certain elements on their team that didn't really feel like they were supporting their teammate. There was one thing that we pushed throughout the season on Team Darkside was, we win and we lose together. and more importantly than anything, if we end up, whatever ends up happening is what we're going to deal with. But the fact is, right now we're a team, and we're going to act like one. And anybody that's got a problem with that, has got a problem with the way that we're running it. Then they can basically, take 25 steps over in the other locker room and put on a red jersey if you want, because that was really something that we pushed was that team look out for each other, and I kind of felt good about that.
Nice. Now, tell us about your first day on the job, your first day in the Tough Gym, if you can remember it. Like, was it the same day of the fights that we saw in the premiere, or like, what was the first day of filming, or when you actually showed up in Vegas or the gym like? And was that the first time you met John Jones or Dana White? What was it like?
No, I've met John before. We shared a locker room. I think when he fought Ryan Dater, I can't remember, was that in Vegas? We shared the locker room. I was cornering Mike Pierce against Johnny Hendricks.
Oh, hell yeah!
So I've been around John before, and in fact, I actually watched the Anderson Silva Vitor Belfort fight with Greg Jackson on a little 19-inch TV they had there in the locker room. So no, and then Dana, I've been around Dana several times at UFC events, but obviously this had been the most amount of time that I had spent with him, going out to dinner and being around him at the gym. So that was pretty cool. The first day, wow, I don't even know where to start, man. It feels like it was so long ago. 28 guys show up, and, people are a little freaked out. There's guys that quit their job to show up to the Ultimate Fighter, just to get an opportunity to fight, to potentially be in the house. So they basically, there's 28 guys, and we walk in after they had kind of introduced Chael and John to them. We walk in, and we basically walk around, and we shake hands, and we talk to guys for probably a good 15 minutes, and certain guys had come up, and, Adam Fella had come up, and I talked to him, and he had a boxing background and kickboxing, and then, Clint had he worked out with he worked with Brian Stan, so there was kind of a little relationship because Brian Stan's obviously part of Chael's camp for his last fight.
Yeah.
There was a kid named Leo Brashears who worked out, the Native American kid that he fights out of Montana, and he's a friend of a friend. So basically, we kind of walk around. There's 28 guys standing there. Everybody's a little freaked out. They just made weight, and nobody knows who they're fighting or anything about their opponents. I don't know anything about the guys. So basically, Dana says, all right, 14, you go in that locker room, and you 14, you go in that locker room. So there's 14 guys in there, and I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about their opponent. 14 guys, they're all there at the same time. The show made it look a little different, like they were drawing them from the hotel, and then they'd show up. But that's not the reality. There's 14 guys in that little locker room, and everybody's hitting nets. And we don't know anything, and they don't know anything. So we end up cornering a bunch of guys, and they end up cornering a bunch of guys, and some of the guys that I cornered didn't make it in, and some of the guys I cornered did make it in. Some of the guys I cornered that made it in ended up being even on the other team, and vice versa. So the first day was really a weird experience. Guys, you could tell, were pretty nervous. But you could kind of tell there were certain guys that wanted to be on certain teams, and I won't give too much of that away. But you could kind of tell that they were kind of hoping to be picked on our team. And I'm sure there was a couple guys that wanted to be picked on Jones's team as well at the time. But it was an interesting first day, man, an experience that I'm literally walking to the cage, and I don't know anything about the guy I'm cornering, and I turn to Clayton, and I say, what's our guy's name again? Right? And he's like, oh shit, I don't know. And I'm asking the kid that I'm cornering, do you know anything about your opponent? Here's a funny story. Kevin Casey walks up to the octagon to get in there, and Stitch or House, one of them, grease him up. And they say, Kevin, okay, do you want to hug your corner? And Kevin Casey looks at us and kind of looks around and goes, "Man, I don't know these guys." He said, "I don't know these guys," and he walks into the octagon. And he ended up being on our team. And Kevin's he's a great dude, man. He comes off as pretty rough cat, but he's really a good dude. So it was pretty funny, man. Those are some of the stories I remember from the first day.
That's awesome. What is the word on the street about the opposing coaching staff on Tough? Like, how are the coaches for John Jones's team? Was there any? Did you guys get along because you guys were doing the same thing, or was there a little beef or something? Did you have to? What I'm trying to say is, Coach, did you have to knock a few people out during the filming of the show? What's the word?
No, I came in, I talked, like, man, I don't know, 2-3 days before we flew out there. Chael called me at, like, he called me at, like, midnight. And I'm not kidding you, we talked to probably 3:30 in the morning on the phone.
Oh, nice.
And I had pranks set up. I had fart bombs. I had the poster.
Oh, yeah.
Of John versus Chael, the rematch with Chael being the champion. Right, I had all it dialed in, man. I was going to be kind of the guy that like set up the prank. And you know what happened, man? We got over there, and it just wasn't that type of a season. They brought in real athletes. They brought in guys that were serious. The coaches, as far as the other team, I really didn't know what that dynamic was going to be like, and I wasn't ready for anything as far as we'd talk some shit, or we could play some pranks, or we could not like each other. But to be honest with you, man, there really wasn't anybody on that team as far as the coaches that I didn't like. I would say that I think the dynamic we had going into it was we're basically already a unit. We already work as a team. I see Scott and Clayton in the gym, every day. And Vinny's been a big part of our camp for the last couple of fights. And Doce's been around us back since Mike was fighting himself. So the dynamic of what we had going on was we all kind of knew where our roles were. We all knew who was doing what at all times. And I think nothing against Jones's team, but when you have a bunch of coaches that don't necessarily consistently work as a unit, there's a little bit of a feeling out process and kind of figuring out what everybody's role is. So I think we definitely have the advantage going into it.
Nice. And what is, so you mentioned it took a shift, and everybody's noticing that, everyone was expecting the Ultimate Fighter season, Jones versus Sonnen, to be like a shit-talking fest, like a total war. But,
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and in the post-interviews, everyone's commenting, we're seeing John and Chael get along. And I guess what you're saying is that the season kind of turned out sort of that way. That's what they've been saying as well. So so now that it is a kind of different season of The Ultimate Fighter, even the way it was shot and produced, even down to the cameras that they're using. What's your impression overall of The Ultimate Fighter season so far? Are you digging it? Are you proud of what you guys accomplished, or are you like, man, they are editing out a lot of shit here? What's your impression?
Well, no, I really do like what they did this season. I think it's a different look. Of course they're editing out tons of stuff. They basically follow you around all day, with those cameras, and there is tons of stuff that goes on. They're unable to put it all. I mean,
yeah.
It'd be a 2-year season if they put it all in there, and there's probably enough good stuff that they could potentially do something like that. But I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. At some point there was a discussion over there that they were bringing in, I believe, consultants from the HBO 24/7 series.
Nice.
So they kind of, I believe, went into it wanting to make it a different season than normal.
Yeah.
And I think they hit the mark on it so far. There's stuff that they probably edited out that was, they could have left in, but again, I mean, you only got an hour show, so there's only so much you can put in there.
No, I hear you, man. And I'll just try to wrap up my questions real quick before I give, because he'll kill me. They'll kill me if I don't give Ninja and Jake a chance to ask you a little something here.
So, oh, it's all good.
Yeah. What I was going to ask are the important questions here. One of them is, while you were filming Tough, did you get to hang out with Mr. Danger Waffles, Chael Sonnen's dog? Did you get to see him? Did he make an appearance? Give us an update on the dog. I'm sorry, we care about him here on the Word on the Street.
I did, man. Danger's a funny dog, man. He's kind of suspect to people. But once you're in, you're part of his team, you know.
Yeah, man.
I'm not kidding about that either. He there was, well, let's see. I went to the store. I got him a ball to chew on.
Yeah.
And we were we were buddies before that, but yeah, I did. I got to hang out with Danger. Their cat. Chael had like a whole farm in his room. He had
I bet he does.
cats and dogs and birds, and I thought I saw a giraffe walking past once.
Oh man, it's a zoo.
He had
He's
his
running.
cat lashes in there. Yeah, then he's got another cat, but I don't want to say the name because if I do, I'm sure there'll be a Twitter account. It was Chael's cat.
There definitely would be, man. It's ridiculous, man. He's even got to hide his. He's even got to keep his pet secret. That's crazy.
Right?
Man. That's
exactly.
nuts. Okay, so it's gonna be a tough one to decide here because you did the next question. What are you more excited for? I know you grew some bonds with the cast, you know, the fighters, but you know you're also buddy with Sonnen. What are you looking forward to the most? The Tough 17 finale event, or UFC 159 Sonnen versus Jones for the title in New Jersey? Are you going to both? What's the deal?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Going to both. The finale, I can't say a whole lot about that because I just can't, you know.
Yeah, but
I can't say a lot about it. Yeah, but I will be there. And then as far as Chael versus John, then yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to that, man. If there's any justice in the universe, then this is Chael's opportunity to get the title because just flat out he deserves to have it. That's my opinion of that.
Yep. And Coach, you are of course in Sonnen's corner, one of his right hand men, the living legend. People are going to kill me if I don't ask the obvious question. How do you see the fight versus Jones going? What do you think's going to happen here? I know you can't give away any game plans, but how do you see the fight going?
There's no secret game plan. I mean, that's kind of one thing that you kind of know about Chael is, he calls it a fight. It's a fist fight. They close the door and two guys go out there and they throw punches. There's this era of invincibility that floats around certain fighters sometimes. And I love Mike Tyson. I grew up watching Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson lost a fight before.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Jones was this indestructible, just God-gifted fighter that couldn't lose, and then Antonio Tarver stood up to him. And then Glenn Johnson stood up to him, and then several other guys stood up to him after that. And who knows how many fights he could have potentially lost before that, before it was a guy like Antonio Tarver stood up and threw that left hook or right hook and caught him. Floyd Mayweather, he lost, in my opinion, he lost the first Jose Luis Castillo fight. So, these guys like John Jones, you see him in the gym every day. I mean, I saw the guy every day. I like John. There's no disrespect, but he's a normal dude just like everybody else. He walks. He's got two arms and two legs, and he comes into the gym, and it's just, hey, there's John. So there's not this the cloak of supremacy as far as John Jones goes. I don't think we're buying into it. Everybody can potentially have a bad night and be beat, and everybody can potentially have a good night and beat the champ. And basically, it's that simple. We're just going to go out there and we're going to give it 100%, and we're going to come out the new champ. That's our plan, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I've got to agree. Any man can be beat. Every fighter eventually loses, except for, of course, Rocky Marciano, which you know full and well. But yeah,
Yeah, he beat Joe Louis.
he beat Joe Lewis's ass.
He beat Joe Louis, yeah, my hero. So yeah.
Yeah, he was 137 years old when they fought, however.
This is true.
Yes. Last question from me. And then I'll just give it to Ninja real quick to ask you something. If Jake is still there, if he hasn't passed out from his marijuana coma, hopefully he has something to ask you.
I'm here, son.
Okay, Jake, you're still there. Yeah, sorry. Now, Coach Huey, how much marijuana do you smoke? I'm just kidding. That's not the question. The question is actually, tell us about the One MMA, your new gym. How did that come about? How's it coming along? How involved are you? Is the Team Quest partnership over? What's the word on the street about One MMA, your new gym?
There's no love lost with Team Quest. They are a legendary gym. Basically, Scott just took a different direction as far as business-wise. So basically, the name One. We were staying at a place down in Vegas during the Ultimate Fighter. The condos that we stayed at were called One. And then it was kind of one of those reoccurring themes that kept coming up for some reason in Vegas as we were kind of potentially talking about, doing a brand change. Also, One being the blend of mixed martial arts, judo and boxing and wrestling and jiu-jitsu and One MMA is a gym that you can go to and you can get that whole complete package where it's not just different disciplines, but we blend them all together in an MMA format. So One MMA, basically, that is the new brand, and that's kind of the concept behind it.
Nice.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of the story behind that.
And where is that located? I know it's in Oregon.
We're in Tualatin, Oregon. We're formerly Team Quest Tualatin. I believe we're still in process of changing all the Google information and maps. It might have actually already be up, but the new website is www.one-mma.com. So it's one-mma.com.
Excellent.
New website.
Excellent. After I recover from this little knee injury here, I'll maybe take my ass up there and I'll train some thug jitsu up there if you guys will allow that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I would love to have you up, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I'll do it sometime, definitely. And I'm a huge fucking fan. It's obvious, but I also have another fan, my co-host Ninja Larson. I'm sure he just wants to at least say hi or something. Maybe he has a question. Ninja, are you there? You're on with Coach Huey.
I am here, and what an honor it is to be with the living legend, Coach. You know how much of a fan I am of you guys, Team Darkside, the Sonnen Mafia. Excuse me if I'm a little starstruck. This is a huge deal for me personally.
We don't have fans. We only have friends and teammates.
That's right.
So welcome to the team.
Friends and teammates. My question for you is, you are the man that gets to speak to Chael Sonnen before he goes into the ring and does what he does.
The cage.
I mean, Cage, my bad, again. The man speaks for himself all the time. I mean, what do you even say to a guy like that on, the biggest fights like Anderson Silva? I mean, what do you say? I mean, can you give us a little insight on what you say to your fighters before they go in and fight?
There's nothing really, you can say that hasn't been said, or especially to Chael. You guys are getting a taste of it, kind of watching him coach this season. But I pick up stuff from that guy. I feel honestly, I honestly feel like I should call him coach sometimes, because I borrow a lot of the stuff that he says. One of the first, he just has a way of. It's hard to tell anything. When I have an opinion on something, maybe something in the media, hey, I think you should do this, and I'll kind of, who am I to give Chael, the freaking guy that is better at the media stuff than anybody that I. So what am I going to tell this guy, right? But then I'll think, oh no, I got a really good idea and an angle, and then I'll see him do a complete 180, just completely different than the angle that I was going to take, and I end up standing back and watching it and thinking that was clearly the better way to go that he did. So it's kind of hard to. I mean, sometimes it's hard to. So with Chael, it's just one of those things. You don't try to get too philosophical and in depth, and he's been there, he's done it, he's a competitor. He's been to the highest level of wrestling and MMA. So with a guy like Chael, you just keep it real, man. You just tell it the way it is, and just try to set the example. I try to show up on time when it's time to work out, and it's more of doing the right thing than it is really telling Chael anything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Other question, real quick. One MMA gear. When in the world is that going on sale? Have you got it yet, or what?
We do. We have T-shirts in the pro shop at the gym. I think we're in process of getting those on the website for sale. I'll have to I'll double check on that. We just kind of getting everything together, but I don't believe you could check the website to see if they're up yet. But they're sharp looking shirts, man. I'll tweet one out. They're black and orange and yellow. They're sharp looking T-shirts, and they're quality T-shirts, and they got a nice print on there. They're not kind of like that cheap photo stuff that they do now. They're actually screen.
Yeah, Coach, I have Ramses here again, just chiming in real quick. I have a suggestion, actually. You guys should promote that, Jim. How about a giveaway on Twitter with a signed One MMA T-shirt? That would be awesome. Great way to get people.
It's an excellent idea. And and also so everybody doesn't think I forgot the contest we did, the Mike Tyson Twitter campaign down there.
Oh yeah.
I still got the signed shirt. Still got to do the drawing. Was kind of waiting for the show to get going, a little bit momentum, and obviously now at this point everybody knows who's on whose team. So that hasn't been something I forgot about. That is still going to be done. But I do like your idea about the One MMA autograph shirt. So
yeah,
that's something that I think we could incorporate. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And once I get the live podcast up and running, I would love to host that Mike Tyson T-shirt. Well, it's not a Mike Tyson T-shirt, but it was from that giveaway, which you all remember, the Team Sonnen jersey. Yeah, if you want to give one of those away, I could definitely pump that up, get it done on my show. If you're not going to do it on any other one, definitely.
No, absolutely, man. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Oh, great. Now, Ninja, did you have any other final questions before we hand it off to Jake here? The coach is a busy man, I'm sure. Who knows what time it is over there in the West Coast? What's up, Ninja?
Last question before I hand it over to Jake. This is the most generic question, but seeing as we have a living legend, one of the greatest coaches I admire,
greatest of all time,
and Jamie Huey on, greatest of all time. The most generic question anybody ever asks a coach is, what do you have? What is your inspiration? What words can you say to all the younger fighters and all the aspiring fighters out there?
Boy, just consistency to purpose. I like that old Adidas used to have, the Muhammad Ali brand that the slogan was "Impossible is nothing." That plus consistency to purpose. I mean, impossible is nothing really. As far as it got, boy, there's a lot as far as, you know, kids getting wrapped up in. I run a nonprofit boxing program for kids here in Beaverton, and you know, we get all sorts of kids and through the program, and there's been some tragedy stories that we've had, and then there's been a lot of successful stories. But the one thing is, you know, if you're a fighter, you can never count somebody out, because fighters are the type of people that always get back up when they get knocked down. So it you know, it takes a kind of a special person to be involved in either boxing or MMA. But if that's something that somebody wants to do and that's a dream, then you can't let anybody tell you not to do it. You just have to go after it.
Word on the street there.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. And Jake from the MMA podcast, if you're still there, if you haven't lapsed into a coma induced by the sacred marijuana plant, do you have any questions for the coach, Jamie Huey, the living legend?
I do. Thank you so much for coming on the Word on the Street podcast, man, for a few minutes tonight. I just have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. First off, to go back a little bit, your martial arts career began in boxing, but now is obviously focused in mixed martial arts. Why did you decide to change your focus from boxing to MMA?
You know, I didn't change. I still run a boxing program. In fact, my boxing program is the second largest boxing program in the Pacific Northwest. So I train, in fact, my little 80-pound boxer, Cruz Solano, just left for Kansas City, the National Silver Gloves, today. This is his fourth trip down to the National. So still very heavily involved in boxing. As far as the MMA thing, you know, it wasn't really something I went after. It just kind of ended up falling in my lap. Some of these guys started coming up to, Clayton was bringing some of these guys up to my gym, and I didn't know who they were, but every once in a while I'd turn on, you know, WEC or The Ultimate Fighter, and, you know, there's Ed Herman, or there's Jake Ellenberg, or Ryan Jansen, or Dale Sonnen, or, you know, I remember literally turning on the TV one time and the WEC fight with, I think it was the first Chael versus Paulo Filio, the first fight. Mm-hmm. I'm like, whoa, what? Or maybe it was the second fight, but it was like, whoa, what the hell is Chael doing on TV? So there was all these elite guys coming up to my boxing program, but I had no idea who these guys were. And then I got a call from Mike Pierce, who needed a corner at Boston at 118, and I started working with him, and you know, it just kind of took off from there. So it wasn't really something I planned on doing. It just kind of happened. I'm still, like I said, involved in boxing, but unfortunately, boxing's really kind of at a sad, depressing place in Oregon right now. The amateurs circuit is strong, but pro boxing, we haven't had a professional boxing match here of any size since, I think, Floyd Mayweather fought Sean Bay Mitchell, which was probably at least 7 or 8 years ago. So really the opportunities have been in MMA here in the Pacific Northwest. So, you know, I've been kind of busy doing both, I guess.
True. Yeah, that's really cool hearing a guy who you know stays close to his roots. You know, you've trained with a lot of guys, and obviously training with these Ultimate Fighter guys is a unique experience. Are there any differences in training between guys training in the gym with no pressure and guys who have cameras in front of them filming footage archived for a show that's going to be broadcasted all around the world?
You know, the cameras really start to kind of disappear after, I don't know, maybe the first week. You kind of, you know, we'd go into the tough gym, and I would literally walk past the camera guys. Initially, I would say, hi, hey, guys, how you doing? And then they kind of look at you like, you're not supposed to talk to us, you know. And then about the first week, I'd walk right past them. I wouldn't even say anything, and I'd be like, what the hell's wrong with me? How rude is that? So I'd turn around and I'd give them a head nod or give them some type of acknowledgement. that, I recognize that they are a human being and they're standing there even though they're doing a job with a camera. but it speaks to you forget that the cameras are there after a while. You'll be having a conversation and something will catch your eye out of your peripheral vision, and you'll kind of like, whoa, what the hell is that? And there's a boom mic, and maybe you're saying something and they're trying to capture the audio. So there's those things, those constant reminders that'll remind you. But literally, they'll be standing there and following you around with cameras, and you got microphones on, and you forget that they're there. So to kind of answer the question, no, it's pretty similar. It's about the same. I mean, there are certain guys, I'm sure, that are going to be a little bit more aware of the cameras and as far as positioning. But for the most part, as far as the training and everything went, no, there wasn't a lot of difference. The only difference is these guys all come in with a different skill set, and in 6.5, 7 weeks, you don't have a lot of time to completely change bad habits or completely reprogram a fighter. You basically take what you have and you try to make it better, and really a lot of it is confidence building. So we did that, obviously pushing the team environment.
Well, it looks like we have definitely lost Coach Jamie Huey for good. So we're just going to go ahead, and it was a great interview. Thank you, Coach, for coming on the Word on the Street podcast, post-tough episode, wrap-up, recap, review. We got to ask you some questions here. Hopefully we didn't give away any spoilers. I don't think we did. But thanks to the Coach Jamie Huey. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach Jamie Huey, at Coach Jamie Huey. Again, Team Darkside shout out. Thank you for your time, Coach. And just to wrap it up and take us out, Ninja Larson and Jake from the MMA podcast will just let you guys say goodbye to our audience here, our audience of millions of MMA fans and viewers, random people. Ninja, where can we see you on Twitter, man? Shout that out.
You can follow me, Ninja Larson. It's at Real Last Outlaw, REALLAST Outlaw. I'm on Twitter all the time. Follow me if you aren't already. I just want to give a quick shout out to Team Darkside, Coach Jamie Huey, like I always do. Thanks for coming on. Scott McClory, Clayton Hires, Shale P. Sonnen, Word on the Street. Thanks, man.
And Jake from the MMA podcast. Where can we hear your podcast? What's up, man? Say goodbye.
Yo, follow us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast, all one word. If you go to the MMApodcast.com, you can click the tabs on the top. Subscribe to us on iTunes, on YouTube. Those tabs, we have iTunes and a YouTube tab. Ramses is also on the MMA Roundtable, which is part of the MMA Podcast. We put out podcasts every Wednesday and Thursday. It's about to be every Thursday and Friday because Chris is taking a little sabbatical, and my boy Ramses is gonna do a couple of few MMA podcasts. So definitely stay tuned for that. And all that. Just follow us on Twitter, the MMA Podcast, and iTunes, YouTube. What up? The MMApodcast.com. Thanks for having me on, Ramses.
No problem. And yes, I will be an honorary co-host on the MMA podcast. I'll keep you updated on that. But thanks for tuning into the Word on the Street podcast. Thanks to Coach Jamie Huey, everybody from Team Darkside, Team Sonnen, shout out. Just follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up with the latest UFC rumors and news and predictions and know when the next episode comes out. Follow me at The Ant Jimmy Show. The Ant Jimmy Show on Twitter. Thanks again for tuning in. See ya.